just make sure I can see the chat. Hello, everyone. I'm on the Smeagol cam right now. Ooh. We had some minor... we had some minor issues with setting things up, but we're... So, Smeagol is right here, by the way. Hold on a second. Oh, so, if everyone looks at their emotes, there should be at least one new one. And hopefully more soon. I submitted a bunch, but Twitch has to like approve them. So that's what we're waiting on. Beauty? You wanna come right here? Come here. Nice, yes, you got one. Hey Ricky, Ricky, no worries at all. I'm planning on making this kind of a shorter stream so that I can see Audie's stream. But yeah. It's Gollum mode. There's one emote that when Billy sent it to me, I literally laughed out loud. I'm pretty excited for that one to be discovered. But hopefully I'll like the new layout and everything. Oh, it's funny. I'm on the Smeagol cam in the Smeagol box. That's funny. But yeah, here's the actual Smeegs. Oh no. There we go. Hi. You're cute. So tomorrow we are going to Franny's show. So I'm going to be making sure that I get hers totally done. I also have some props to paint. One that just finished painting, or just finished printing. So I'll be working on that. What are you guarding? What are you guarding? I don't know what you're guarding. Yeah. What? Oh, no, you don't have those. Can you put those elsewhere, please? She wants my Oreos. So. Move this to here so that you're not like looking up my nose, hopefully. Okay. Not good at this. Okay. What am I doing? This. Oh, oops. I left a paintbrush in the water for a long time. But yeah, so I hope everyone's doing well. So my original plan was to cover the Perons this week, especially Eva Peron. But obviously things changed because of the sickness yesterday from the vaccine. So what I've decided to do instead is go very out of order and talk about what happened to her body after she died instead. So I'm going to talk about that first, and then next week we're going to talk about the Perons. And yeah, just like wild. It's wild. Okay. So, how do I sum up? So, the Perons were the dictators of Argentina for a while. There is still a movement following them called Peronism, and the people who follow it are Peronists. I have mentioned on here before that I feel very strongly about this because my mom is from Argentina, and my grandfather, her father, was a politician actively opposed to Peron, and like had to like hide in Uruguay for a little while and everything to like not get captured and imprisoned or worse. So yeah, so this is like a personal story almost. Madam. Oh, you wanted the microphone over there. I'm sorry. I forgot. Is chat silent? Okay, chat has been hidden from me. Give me a second to catch up. Okay, cool. Cool. I decided to eliminate one of Franny's bracelets just because it looked really weird. So I gotta paint her wrist back to the flesh color. Oh yeah, oh, I'm frozen. I'm frozen. At least I look really cool in this freeze frame. Thank you for appreciating the shirt. It just arrived yesterday, and I'm definitely a fan. There we go. Kind of. Oh, that's why. Okay, hello. No longer on Smeagol Cam. Yeah, I feel very strongly about trans, like, not even trans rights, just like the right for trans people to exist without everyone up in their business. Like, and just the rate of suicides with trans kids. Yeah, I feel really strongly about all of that. So I was really pumped when I found this shirt. Oh, thank you for noticing. What's up, Smeeks? How you doing? Right. You gotta mix skin up again. Which is a weird sentence out of context. Aww. That's true. What's this? Okay. So, alright. So, Eva and Juan Peron were the dictators, and she died of, some people say uterine and some people say ovarian, or not ovarian, some people say cervical and some people say uterine cancer. I'm pretty sure it was uterine cancer because his prior wife had died of cervical cancer. So I think people just mix that up. And I have a very firm opinion, this is not a fact, this is my opinion, that Juan had HPV because both his first two wives both died of cancers that you can get from HPV. So, like, no shame for HPV havers whatsoever. That's just my opinion based on the facts as we know them. And yeah, so she died in 1952 from uterine cancer. And can you do me a favor and replace the water and bring paper towel? Okay. Bad luck with cancers, right? Like, that's not a coincidence that his two wives both died from cancers that you get from HPV. He also never had kids. Some people think that he was like seriously injured and couldn't have kids after he had like a gymnastics incident where he like slipped on a bar and like landed on his groin. But who knows? Who knows? The facts are that two of his wives died from cancer, and none of them ever had kids. He had three wives. So Evita is one of my favorite musicals, which makes my family crazy because like they hate her so much. It's such a good, although you didn't like it.
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you thought the songs were bad. Yes. Please forgive the mess. Hi. You are vibrating. Are you guarding my iPad? No, you're not guarding my iPad. Oh, okay. It's a piece of cardboard. That's some toxic D. Yeah, HPV makes sense. Yes. Yeah, like it's my theory. This is not something I read. This is just something that while I was reading, I was like, this sounds like this. So with zero authority on the matter. But yeah, so we're definitely going to be watching the movie for movie night. probably next week, so that like I don't spoil stuff for what's coming up. And then also y'all will be able to appreciate it more when you know the context for everything. But so the musical ends with her dying, right? Like that's it begins with her funeral and ends with her, like, and then it's a flashback and then she dies at the end. Spoiler alert. Also, hello. Oh my goodness, there are people in chat. Hold on, can you I want to say hi. Also, hello Aximom and Lord Harlock, nice to see you. So there was this major funeral that they had where like the entire city completely shut the fuck down. Here we go. Eximom does have witty humor, I agree. So yeah, so the city was completely shut down, like, and it's impossible to know how much of it was genuine mourning, how much of it was, and how much of it was like, not necessarily forced, but like, encouraged strongly, you know? And like, just like super gross. Her coffin was kissed 500,000 times in 13 days by one person. But yeah, a million people kissed that surface. And you know they weren't cleaning in between. Hey, Samalyn, lovely to see you. But yeah, 500,000, gross, super gross. So what happens after the musical ends? Like next week, we're going to go back and we're going to talk about what happens in the musical. But, and you know, life. Like, even like pre-COVID, that's nasty, Lord Harlock. Like, even thinking about it, like outside of the context of I've lived my last 2 years of my life in a pandemic, as we all have, like that's still gross. Ugh. So when she died, within an hour, the embalmer that they had already arranged for her was there and started working. And, like, he basically got the body to a point where it wasn't going to be actively decomposing during the funeral that was going to take several days. It was 13 days. And then as soon as they removed her from viewing, so their plan had been to build a giant memorial. Think if you've ever seen Lenin's memorial in Red Square in Moscow, it's basically like this fancy, like, it's a memorial, like it looks like a regular memorial, but then like you go inside and his body is there on display, and they embalmed it in such a way that it would last for as long as possible. And so they did the same thing with Eva's body. And so this guy was like, sorry, there's something in my eye. Okay. So this guy was like a big deal in the embalming world. And like also super full of himself. Like his quotes are ridiculous to read. But so after the funeral was done, he took the body and he proceeded to work on it for a whole year, embalming it. And it cost $100,000 to do. We are guarding box and window at the moment. Correct. Yes, we've been bopping around different things to guard tonight. But she does love the window seat. She's such a weirdo. She was guarding that box. Oh, bye, Rude Ricky. I'll see you in a bit, like when we're done. Like it's gonna be a short stream and I want to watch Audie's thing. It sounds fun. So see you in a bit. Can you grab that box that she was guarding earlier? I want to show you the box that she was guarding before we started, just so you can see like the scale of Smeagol to box. There it is. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Ridiculous. Golem mode. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that new icons or emote so much. So it took a whole year to embalm the body. And he did this thing that's like really unusual where he kept the organs in and he preserved those as well. Like normally when you embalm someone, you take their organs out, but he went and like preserved the organs too. And like by the end of it, like she kind of looked like a wax doll almost. And, but yeah, so he had finished embalming her, but they hadn't finished building the memorial. So she was just chilling over at the like intelligence agency's headquarters kind of. And like people could go and see her there if they wanted, but it wasn't like a big open thing. What could he possibly be doing for an entire year? Like it's this really complicated thing of like he uses like plastic and like I looked into it and I did not understand it. But I'll see if I can find the thing I was reading about it so you can see all the whole process. So they hadn't finished building the memorial, so they didn't yet have a place to put her, right? And like I said, the Perons, even though they were very beloved and are still beloved in Argentina, despite being fascists, oh, I need paper towel, please. Napkin or something? It's something. If you could replace this, please. So, this thing. Oh, okay. So they were fascist dictators. Like, there's no, like, there was a lot of good stuff that they did. Like way more good stuff than I realized based on how I was raised to think about them. Like I'm gonna get into all the stuff that they did next week. It's a lot. But what it comes down to for me is that they are the ones responsible for all the Nazis being able to escape and flee and escape justice. They opened the borders. They like mass printed a bunch of fake passports for them that Peron was like personally handing out to them. And yeah, so I don't care how much good you do, like that's a deal breaker for me. Like, no. You are a bad person. They thought that the Nazis were super smart and had great ideas. They thought Hitler was awesome. So that's the end there. Like yeah. Anyway, is that dark enough? It got to match the Franny. Completely random. My dog is absolutely watching Smeagol on the TV. Aww. Smeagol, you're famous. All the dogs will know who you are. But yeah, so they are very controversial in Argentina still to this day. There are people who love them. There are people who hate them. And you cannot convince either side to switch. Like, where you stand on Peronism is like saying like Democrat versus Republican, you know? And so before they finished the memorial, a Smeagol snack? A Smeagol snack? I think that most countries back then in one way or shape took in Germans who were part of Nazi Germany at the time. I wouldn't say most countries. There were definitely more countries than just Argentina, but Argentina was the one that like let in a lot because they were all second most. Oh, United States was first, right? Sorry, Argentina's second. After United States, we're number one. But Argentina was already very closely tied with Germany in the first place. Like, Argentina is the only country in South America that is mostly populated by descendants of immigrants, colonizers. And those immigrants... So those immigrants are mostly from Spain, Italy, and Germany. So if you go to Argentina, like especially the cities, it's very European. Like, it doesn't feel South American. It feels very yeah, like, and it's considered like the Paris of South America. That's its like nickname. And yeah, I've been there. It's where my mom is from. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. In my mind, it's basically New York City in Spanish. But I also have not been able to go back for a long time because the situation over there has been really fucked up politically.
Okay, finally got my mic hooked up.
Yay! I'm gonna need to drop. Okay, this alone. And we have the Smeagol cam. Yeah. I like that Smeagol's in the bigger spot.
That was just actual complete accident. I had originally put her in the
funny.
small spot, and then the cameras swapped themselves.
Yeah. Oh, I totally see how it happened. It's just funny that like
MK.
let's not even argue. She's the star.
One of the few things that I wanted to follow up on in terms of the Perons and who they were, etc., is there is a fair amount of critique as to whether or not they are technically fascists in the most like precise definition, in the same way that like HPV is, or in the same way that like HPV isn't technically cancer, it just causes cancer. Like,
well, it can cause cancer.
It's basically a distinction without a difference. So you may find information someplace or other that goes, technically they weren't fascists because X, Y, Z, which is technically true, but not usefully true.
Yeah. Can you grab the black paint? I did hydrate. I will do it again though. Thank you, thank you. There we go. Okay. So a couple years after she died, there was like, there were, oh my gosh, just the politics of Argentina in the 20th century are wild. Like, I might keep going after I finish the Perons, because what happens after the Perons is just tens of thousands of people were disappeared. Like, it was this insane time in history. Like,
You're talking about like the military juntas?
No. No, yes. I can't remember the name. Yes. Like I said, yeah. Basically, I want an excuse to look into it more.
Hold on, let me mute your mic. Good. So, one thing that you may notice as you're looking up information about the Perons and the history of government in Argentina is that there's something called the juntas, which are basically just like the military taking over the entire country. The pronunciation of that may make you think Hoonta, but it's actually Junta, and that's just because it's a Spanish word. Not everyone in the chat knows Spanish. But yeah, if you're looking it up, it's Junta.
That should be good. Okay. So there was like a coup. Peron got deposed and sent off in exile. And he went to...
Those are some new noises.
He went to Spain, to Madrid. and was just kind of hanging out there. And in the meantime, Eva's body disappeared.
Oof.
And like, so the journey to get to disappeared was, so basically the military, when they took over and deposed Juan, they were like, okay, like her body is like political at this point. Like, we need to make sure that it's not going to be turned into a shrine. Like,
You can play with the box, but you can't leave with the box. It has to stay in the window.
So, okay. So what they decided to do at first was to take her to a cemetery like right outside Buenos Aires. By the way, researching this, the different ways that people pronounce Buenos Aires is like
Wild.
ugh, yeah. Okay. Anyway, like I said, that's where my mom is from. So like I've grown up hearing it pronounced correctly. And so it's one of those words like, how do you mispronounce that in my head? But then I'm like, oh right. Most people have not grown up hearing those words.
Which is odd because like
have fun. We'll see you there later, Samalin.
Even with the limited exposure I've had to Spanish and the limited amount of time I've spent learning it, it is obviously pronounced the way that it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Like, if you know Spanish pronunciation at all, you know how it's pronounced.
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires.
So they decided that they were going to take the body and hide it
Message.
in hold on.
Hold on,
focused
she's
right now.
right in the middle of doing a thing. I've let her know that you sent a message. Rune Rose 1223.
Oh, hi, Ruben Rose. Welcome. I wanted to pop in and say hi. Hope you're having a good night. Yes, thank you so much. Welcome. I apologize for ignoring you, but fuck. I messed up anyway. But yeah, I love Miss Hannigan and Annie bonus Iris. Yeah. I saw the original Annie, Andrea McArdle. I saw her play Miss Hannigan in a production.
Really?
It was really cool.
That is
She
really
is
cool.
an interesting human being. Like, because I saw a production where like my friend was working on it, so like I knew what was happening like backstage and stuff. But like performance wise, oh my gosh, it was so exciting.
Oh, and some of you may be aware that we've got a new 3D printer up and running. We have one object that I printed earlier that I need to go get because I had to reprint. But I'm going to show you all the first version, which is actually printed perfectly. It just is too big because I messed up the measurements. But there's a little cat in a box.
The cat is gonna sit on the little stand-up comedian stool. Carol Burnett will always be my Miss Hannigan. Yeah, Carol Burnett is fantastic. Humans are fascinating, endless entertainment. That is for sure.
Let me see if I can control the focus on that so y'all can see a little bit better.
So they decided that they were gonna take the body to this other cemetery, and like they were having problems because like wherever they took the body, people would somehow find out where it was, and there would suddenly be flowers and candles and stuff left like outside of that house or wherever she was kept. And so they were like, all right, we need to move her so that people can't find her and be all worshipy. And so they assigned this one dude to move her body, and like it was a really long journey. And so when he agreed to oh right, we changed it to bleep. I was so confused. Agree to Carol Burnett, but Kitty is also hella aw. Yeah. And Yeah, so it was a long journey, and so he needed to pull over to sleep for a little while, you know, because he was like, I don't want to be driving in this condition. Um, and when he woke up, like, the truck that he was in was surrounded by candles and flowers. Like, no one was supposed to know what he was doing. And so they, so he got, like, freaked out and decided that he wasn't going to go to the cemetery after all. So he wound up taking the coffin to, like, there's different reports on exactly where, but I'm, like, in my researching, I'm pretty sure that it was his house. And he put the coffin up in the attic, and it just sat there for a while, like years. And then, no, like, I could not find anyone that was like, this is what definitely happened. Like, basically everyone was like, this might be what happened. Or like, a lot of people say this is what happened. So apparently he had the coffin up in his attic and he covered it with old papers to hide it. And then, this part's a little sad. One night, the most consistent thing that I found was that one night he thought he heard someone breaking into the house and, like, in the attic, so they were going to go after the body. And so who knows how it happened, but supposedly, or not supposedly, but like he somehow ended up shooting his pregnant wife and killing her. And so I don't know what wound up happening to him. Like I said, like, I've been researching, and like it's researching the Perons is really hard because of the way that people feel about them. So it's hard to know what's propaganda and what's fact. Like, it's a way bigger complication than I anticipated, honestly. Coffin in attic with papers is next level hoarding. That would be a different experience. Yeah. I know it's horrible that happened, and I couldn't really find any more details on it. I'm going to try looking if I have time before next week. But yeah, so they had to move the coffin then, and like, they had this huge issue with people following it, and they wound up commissioning the dude who embalmed her to make a bunch of wax replicas. And because of the way he embalmed her, she looks like a wax doll. I actually think, I'm not going to show pictures on here, but if you want to look up Eva Peron body, I think her body looks like Lady Gaga. Like, she didn't look like Lady Gaga in life, but for whatever reason, her body looks like Lady Gaga. So they made a bunch of, like, replicas of her body to use as decoy. Thank you. And, like, so wild. So what wound up happening was they collaborated with the Vatican, and let me say right here and now, the Vatican was also helping Nazis escape. And so they collaborated with them to, like, sneak the body out of the country and into Italy. And they managed to do it without anyone finding out, without anyone catching them or knowing where they were. And so they wound up taking the body and burying it in a grave in Milan under a different name. I think it was Maria Mugi, something like that. And so it was just, yeah, like this small graveyard in Milan, like different names. So no one found her. And everyone was wondering where the body was for, like, a long time. This all takes place over the course of 20 years. It's wild, like the magic trick with 3 cups and 1 ball. Yeah, at that point, could they just cremate the body, or did the embalming make it toxic? they were Argentina is a very Catholic country, and at this time Catholicism is extremely anti um, um, cremation. So, and it wound up being like a really big problem for a lot of cities that had lots of a big Catholic population. They just were running out of room, and that it was a problem in Buenos Aires. But yeah, so at this point, like, they wouldn't have even considered embalming, or they wouldn't have even considered cremating. But yeah, so oh, so the military, I skipped over a little bit. So when the military had her body, like when they took it and like before they decided to put it in the cemetery, like the military just kind of had it, and no one really knows where or what they did. But there's a lot of mixed information about what they did. Like there's reports that, like, okay, so there was definitely damage to the body, like a lot of damage to the body. Like her nose was completely flattened. Her feet were completely destroyed. Because they think it's because that they stored her in a coffin that was standing up, and so the skeleton was like resting on the feet. And like there were marks and stuff, like, and people, like, no one knows exactly what they did, but you know, some people have theories. And so I don't think that the theory that they like pinataed her, I don't think that that's what happened, but I do think that they were like beating up the body. There are some reports that there was some like necrophilia stuff happening. I don't know if that's real or propaganda. Like, it's really difficult to sort those two from each other in everything to do with the Perons. They didn't use embalming fluid. They embalmed her with glycerin. Yeah, in an attempt to make her body incorruptible. Yeah, like this dude was like very experimental and was like top of the class, let's say. Yay. So yeah, so her body was not in great condition after the military had it for a while. They also think that they put her in a too small coffin, which is honestly impressive because she's 5'3", and she died of like brutal cancer. And so when she died, she was like 80 pounds, something like that. So to put the body of an 80-pound 5'3" woman in a coffin that's too small,
like, where did they
purpose.
find a coffin that small?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that takes effort. Like, it's not just like you grab the first coffin you find and, oh, it's too small, because even like the smallest coffin that's standardly available is going to be the right size or bigger.
Yeah.
Like, they had to go make an effort.
Yeah. And also she was already in a coffin.
Yeah.
So they took her out of that.
They put her in a kid's coffin, I guess, probably.
They must have. It must have been something like that.
Yeah.
They must have gone way out of their way to find it. Yeah. Why would you change coffins all that often anyway, right? It's supposed to be a one-time deal.
I mean, it's just like 3-card Monty, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Find the dictator.
So, they decided to return the body to Peron, and at this point he is still in Madrid. So they bring the body to his villa in Madrid. Sorry, I'm reading too much Spanish.
I mean, isn't it pronounced
I mean, yeah,
Villa?
but
Okay.
not in English.
Yeah. English is a dumb language anyway.
So they bring the
coffin.
coffin.
Yeah, MK. She was only 33, and
Yeah,
the reason she
age.
died of cancer.
I already said.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
wasn't sure.
didn't say that part. That's going to be next week. I wasn't talking about her like life or death. I'm mostly talking about her after. But yeah, we're definitely going to cover that, don't worry.
Okay.
So yeah, so she was my age when she died, which is kind of weird to think about. Like she started out really young. Okay. So they bring the coffin and the body to Madrid, and they take it and like put it like on their dining room table basically, or their living room table. And it just kind of sits there for a while. And they had to like fully clean the body and everything. And so Peron's new wife Isabella was like in charge of cleaning and brushing her hair. And like when she died, they like did her up fancy. Like her hairstylist was there to dye her hair blonde one more time. Her personal manicurist gave her a fresh manicure. Like, so she was set up to look good forever, basically. And so they cleaned up the body, and Isabella was in charge of the hair. So she cleaned it, and then like, I found some conflicting accounts on if she did this once or every day, but like she washed the hair and brushed it out and like lovingly styled it and everything. And yeah, so I don't know if that was once or every day. And then also some people were saying that like they were forcing her to do it, and that's definitely not true. She wanted to do it. Like she definitely considered it an honor. So yeah, so they were doing all that, and then
thank you for even listening, Rude Ricky. I know
thanks, Rude Ricky.
Audio doesn't have any other mods on right now, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Nefes, like imagine being responsible for taking care of your husband's dead wife's corpse.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why she wanted to do it, but
like, I think it was assigned to her, and then she was like, I'm going to do this the best that anyone's ever done it. Like, she definitely had pride in it.
He's not going to be obsessed with his dead wife anymore. Let's see how well that works out for you.
So they kind of just like lived like that for about a year. And then there was another coup in Argentina, and the president that had deposed Peron was overthrown, and they brought back voting. And when they brought back voting, the Peronists, who were still very much there, even though like the next regime had made it like illegal to even say their names or have a picture of them or anything like that, like they were still there very much, and so they elected Peron. And so he was called back from Spain. So he and Isabella went back to Argentina and just left Eva, presumably on the living room table. But they just like left the body behind. And he was not president very long because he died the same year he was elected. He was old, and yeah, I think it was heart failure or something like that. And Isabella was his vice president, and so she became the first female president in the Western Hemisphere. And boy, was she terrible at it. Like, think Trump level of incompetence, like that type of thing. And I would be thinking, okay, I do this for the last wife, and the next will do the same for me. Yeah. How old was he when he died? What was it again? We looked at
74, 75, something along those lines.
He was significantly older than all of his wives. When he and Eva met, he was 48 and she was 24. But yeah, so once Isabella became president, she decided to oversee bringing Eva's body back to Argentina. And so it
78.
78.
He died in 74. That's where I got confused.
Oh, I see. And actually, Bomb, I missed your comment earlier. That's funny. So the body was brought back, and then Isabella was like hardcore deposed. Like, people hated her. She was very, very bad at her job, and just like actively destroying the country. So she was deposed, and like for whatever reason, he was 78 in 74. Yeah. Yeah. So for whatever reason, they decided that when she arrived, they had like a public viewing. So they had her coffin next to Peron's. Hers was open and his was closed. So I guess they didn't make him look good for forever. Which, like, that'd be hard, honestly.
I mean, he was also 78, so she died at 33.
That's fair. Yeah, you want to like preserve the youth. And so they had that, and then he was buried. Oh, you know what? I forget where he was buried, but he was buried somewhere. Like, I'm assuming like some sort of presidential thing. Although in I want to say 1987 maybe. Some people broke into his tomb, and it was a little gross, fair warning. They sawed off the hands from the body, and stole them. I don't know what happened to them. I was trying to figure out where they went, but people were so pissed. Like, there were protests in the street.
I mean, what protesting what? Like, I mean, protesting that it happened, but like,
yeah,
what do they want someone to do?
yeah, I know. But apparently like 50,000 people showed up to protest. So, we are almost done, actually. Which is wild because we haven't even been streaming for an hour. Sawed off like a monkey paw. Yeah, pretty much off with his hands. So, then they took her body, and I've actually been to her burial site, like when I was in Buenos Aires in 97, I want to say. Whatever year the Spice Girls broke up, so that's probably 98. I found out that they broke up while I was in Buenos Aires, like, and I was devastated. But
2000. Or wait. Hold on. Okay. Ginger Spice left in 98. Is that what you're talking about?
98, yeah.
Okay.
I found out that she had left, yeah. And okay, so my mom and I think my aunt and uncle also took me to go see her gravesite. And like, now looking back on that, like, how painful was that for my uncle? Like, it's literally the equivalent of like your niece asking if you will take her to see like Trump's grave. And you're like, well, this person destroyed our country and blah blah, you know, but he still took me, and that's really sweet of him.
And yes, Danny does measure time by the Spice Girls' careers. You say that like it's not how everyone does, and that's kind of weird.
Americans will use anything but the metric system.
I use the metric system almost exclusively.
Adios.
I guess I'm not an American.
You're not.
Oh no, shucks. That's such a terrible thing to say about me.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to be deported. I don't care where, just send me away.
You're embarrassed. So yeah, so what they did was like, so her whole thing was that she cared desperately for the poor people, and she hated the middle class and the rich. Like, hated them. And they took her and buried her in. Oh. This cellophane was ineffective. Measure Time by Tori Amos albums, because she's the only spicy girl for me. And she has a lot of albums, so that's actually a pretty efficient way of measuring time. But yeah, so they took her and they buried her in everything's fine. Hold on. I was very determined to remember the name of the cemetery, and of course, I know it begins with an R. Recoleta. The Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires. And it's like, imagine a New Orleans graveyard with like all of the like crypts and stuff instead of like gravestones. And then like smash them all closer together and like pave the like pathways like the way that you would I don't know, some fancy place of the city, you know. It's very fancy. Sounds eternally peaceful, except that this is where all the fancy assholes that she hates or hated were buried also. Like including people who actively hated her. And they buried her in her family vault, which in not the Peron vault. They buried her in the Duarte vault, which Duarte is my grandmother's maiden name, and when I was a kid I thought maybe they were related, but no, it's a very common last name there. Eternal Shade, yep. And so yeah, so they buried her with the Duartes, which like it's definitely a sign of disrespect, but also like I don't hate it because she was very close with her family. And like they were like, okay, we are never letting anything like this happen again. It took 20 years to get her buried. It might be 24 years. So we're gonna make sure that nothing can happen to this body ever again. So they took the body and they had a company that makes bank vaults design like a vault. And so you have to know where the secret like panel in the floor is, and you have to like push a secret button to open it, and then you go all like down a ways, and then like she's in this crypt that in like supposedly can like withstand a nuclear blast. And it's almost it's impossible to get in. Like on top of all the security measures, there's only one key, and they gave it to her sister, who's very protective of her. So yeah, like they went really hardcore with her burial. Hey, Green New Deal Dragon, lovely to see you. They did the same to Pancho Villa. Yeah. I want to have a last laugh. But yeah, so that's the story of her like wild afterlife. Like a lot of people only know about her because of her body, which I think is funny. Considering like Argentina is still dealing with the effects of the Perons, and like they took over in 47, I believe. So 46. They were really, really powerful before that, but like they officially became like he became president. It doesn't matter. We're gonna find out next week. Took him from Chihuahua. That's you. You're a Chihuahua. Yeah. And yeah, so like, and like I said, like the musical is one of my very favorite musicals. Like it's definitely top 3. Even though I'm not a big fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber, I don't like his other musicals are kind of like take him or leave him. But I love Evita. I've seen the movie way more times than I can possibly estimate. And when I was a kid, I would walk around the house singing songs from it, which is very weird if you know what the songs in Evita are like. They are not appropriate for a child to be singing at all. But I loved them. Right, Franny has boots. Oh, I think... Oh, I thought he was... oh, stretch. Okay, when Brian returns, I will tell him to touch the paint can. I gotta reset my tens unit so that I can keep sitting here. But yeah, like I know that whole thing by heart. And there's this picture that my friend took. They took me to see the musical for the first time live. This was 5 years ago, probably. And at intermission, they look over at me, and like I'm wearing this scarf, and I have like my face just buried in the scarf. And they're like, "Hey, Danny, how you doing?" And like I look up, and like this picture is, I love that picture of me. Like you can barely see my face, but you can see my eyes, and I'm like trying not to cry. She is very much unending entertainment. The Gollum emote is so fun. I love it. But yeah, so next week we are going to be talking about her life. I'm definitely more interested in her life than his life. Like I looked into his life and it's like, oh, that's interesting. You became a dictator. Whereas hers is like complex. So we'll definitely be talking about that Tuesday and Thursday next week. And oh, I wanted to ask, because a lot of you are in here, those of you who are struggling with Discord, where is another place that I can put announcements for schedule and stuff that you would definitely be able to see when I post them? If you can like put suggestions in the chat, because I definitely want to accommodate you guys, especially like things like yesterday where we canceled at not the last minute, but late. So if you have a preferred thing, like I have a Facebook page for OK So, like would that work? I think I have a Twitter account too. Yeah, I have a Twitter account and a Tumblr. So let me know what will work for you, because I want to make sure to make it so that people aren't missing it when I'm saying things like, I got vaccinated and I can't move. 1 minute. Oh, you need to touch the paint can. If you tag everyone, yeah, so that's in Discord, which is what I try to do with something important, like schedule updates and stuff. But Discord is fine, I just need to learn how to use it. Okay. Yesterday is what made me finally try to fuck around with Discord again. I had been checking the Facebook page before that. I haven't been utilizing the Facebook page very much lately. I need to get back on that. And then I can like cross post in the different places. And then that way, you know, hopefully people won't miss it. But I do just want to remind everyone that we are not going to have a stream tomorrow night, because we are going to be seeing Franny's show. Hooray! I'm really excited to like see who shows up, if there's anyone that I know. And yeah, so I'm gonna be giving her her Funko, and I messaged her to tell her that I was gonna be at the show, and like how can I give her the Funko. And then like before she saw it, Brian said, oh yeah, I got the VIP seats, so we're gonna, with that like includes a meet and greet with her. And I was like, oh great. So I just like spoiled the surprise. But yeah, let's see, can you try it now and see if it works? I do have a Twitter. I've used that account I think only once to post. So you do check the Facebook. I should get back into, oh, it's so tiny. Look at that little one. Look at it. Look at it. I'm gonna paint that to be Ramona, so she can have Ramona with her. Yeah, so I'll start trying to use the Twitter and Facebook more. And hopefully that'll help, because I felt really bad yesterday, and I want to make sure that you always get any important updates like that. Yeah, so next week we're gonna learn about some South American dictators. We're gonna watch one of my favorite musicals, and yeah, we are going to raid Audie. So stick around and like be a part of the raid so I look okay. Like, yeah, when we decided to do a stream today, we were like, okay, we're gonna keep it short because everyone wants to see Audie, which is fair because so do we. Hopefully I'll see you on the stream. I'll ask Fran to pan the audience. Yeah, I have no idea where we're sitting or anything. But yeah, I'm so excited. It'll be fun. And like yesterday going and getting the vaccine was literally the first time I've left the apartment at all in months, probably. Okay, that's fine. Let's raid Franny. Let's raid Audie. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate it. I know that it was a weird schedule and everything bumping around and all that, so I appreciate you being here. And we will still be Saturday the stream is gonna start early. We're thinking of starting around 5 and then just going for as long as we can. And then Sunday, other roommate is gonna be gone this weekend, so we're gonna be having streams on both days this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We haven't decided for sure what Sunday is gonna be, but like we'll probably definitely incorporate games at some point. So if you want to join that. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, we will see you Saturday. Enjoy Audie's stream. Thank you, thank you. Smeagol, say goodnight. Good night. Good night. House party. Yeah, it should be fun. Right.